Will the market go up or down? Should you lock in or float? Find out this and more with Master of the Markets, hosted by Barry Habib of MBS Highway. Brought to you by Caliber Home Loans. At Caliber Wholesale, our products make us different, and our people make us great. Caliber Home Loans Incorporated is an industry product leader with a full offering of core conventional and government products, coupled with our innovative non-agency portfolio lending products. Contact us to learn more.
Welcome to Master of the Markets. I'm Barry Habib at MBS Highway. This is created exclusively for Mortgage News Network and brought to you by our good friends over at Caliber Home Loans. It was a quiet news week last week, but still, interest rates did move a little higher. Bond prices drifted a bit lower. Yields on the 10-year Treasury were up. Why was this happening? Well, some of it was news from around the globe, where we did see that Germany and Japan, both of their 10-year instruments, which have been negative for quite some time, have started to edge higher and are pressing right up against zero and may actually go into positive territory once again. Now, this is one of the reasons why yields here in the U.S. moved up, but also we are seeing some talk from the Fed now about calls for higher interest rates. And when we look specifically, people like Eric Rosengren, who is historically a dove, wanting to keep interest rates low, now saying, hey, maybe it's time that we should hike interest rates. And we've been hearing this kind of steady from many of the Fed officials. And there's an interesting dynamic here. If the Fed does indeed hike rates, I think the stock market will take a hit and bonds will probably do well. But leading up to it with some of the rhetoric, bond prices tend to get a little worse in the short term. And that's what we're kind of seeing here. Now, if you've signed up for a trial, you signed up even better as a subscription to MBS Highway, we've done pretty well by locking ahead of the jobs report. So kind of preserve the best rates that are out there recently. In addition to that, ahead of this big move up in rates that we've seen, we were able to secure and lock in right before that with a great well-timed alert on Thursday. Now, going into this week, it's a quiet week until the end of the week where we get some CPI data. We know that the Fed, they kind of like PCE, the personal consumption expenditure, but CPI, the consumer price index, is still watched carefully by the bond markets. And even Stanley Fischer, vice chair of the Fed, started to mention for the first time CPI. It is a smarter way to look at the inflation data. It's more realistic. It takes into consideration out-of-pocket medical expenses, which, you know what? That accounts for 1 month of each of us working is towards medical expenditures. So when you think about it, it's a pretty big part of our budget. The PCE doesn't take that into consideration. And the CPI also looks more deeply at the housing costs that are out there. So it's a smarter way to look at actual inflation. And I think that what we should be looking at this Friday is to see if that remains above 2%. That would be 11 months in a row. And if it edges higher towards 2.3, 2.4, 2.5%, boy, oh boy, I'll tell you what, the bond market won't like that, and the Fed will have to start paying attention to it. So we could see some turbulence. The stock market kind of getting the message now that perhaps at these frothy levels, the Fed may actually not chicken out and hike rates. I don't know if it'll be this month, but it's certainly over the next 2 or 3 months, we may see some more serious discussion by the Fed to actually pull the trigger, and stocks won't respond well to that. So for now, we'll ask you to take a quick look once again at MBS Highway. Why not follow this day by day? It's a volatile time. Good time to talk to your customers and say, well, the short term, you might see some disruption in the marketplace as far as interest rates go because we closed underneath an important floor of support. Typically not a very good sign. Unless we see a quick recovery, rates could drift higher, bond prices could drift lower. Maybe a good time to talk to your customers about getting off the fence and taking some action. Until next week, talk to you soon. I'm Barry Habib. Bye-bye.
Your reputation with your referring business partners depends largely on the lenders you recommend. This is why you'll want to choose a partner who shares your commitment to customer service. At Caliber Home Loans, our products make us different and our people make us great. A leading product innovator. In addition to our core conventional, government, and jumbo loans, we've created our own non-agency portfolio lending products. These enable you to assist creditworthy clients who can demonstrate the ability to repay. To learn more, visit us online at caliberwholesale.com.
This is Mortgage News Network.